Good evening, my local drones. This is Bio Gundam, and I am back again for another review. So today I'll be reviewing the series known as Please Teacher or Onagai Teacher if you want to be a fucking weeb about it. So my first impressions when getting to the story is, well, just to clarify, for some backstory, so when I was getting into Please Teacher, it was actually one of the first rom-com anime I had watched when I was starting to get into anime efficiently, and so I decided it was time for me to sort of review it and sort of, talk about why I hold this series in such high regards and why it's one of my top 10 favorites on my anime list. Now, just to give you a little warning, I am going to be kind of biased just because of nostalgia and shit, so yes, this is probably one of the very few reviews where I'm going to be a bit more biased than usual. So, story. The story begins with our main character Kai, who is living in a small town in the countryside with his uncle and aunt in order to keep an eye on illness, which he has. And the illness itself is called standstill, an illness which puts people in a coma and slow down their aging for a period of time until they wake up, which is caused by extreme stress or pressure. One day, while he's chilling out in the lake, he comes across a UFO and sees a pretty woman come out of it, after running away and pretending nothing happened. The next day after those events, he finds that his school has a new teacher named Miss Kasumi, who has become quite popular with the students in his classroom. After finding out that they're now next-door neighbours, he helps her move in, and one thing leads to another, and he eventually finds out that she is an alien that has been sent by the local galactic government to keep an eye on humanity, because reasons. And they have to pretend they're in a relationship together to hide the fact that she is an alien from everyone else, while also hiding the fact that they are now married from the rest of the town. Because it's against her mission for people to find out what she truly is, and because she's a teacher, she can't be getting really that close to her students for some reason that I don't know nor care about. So a dynamic duo here are fucked on 2 fronts, and maybe on 3 or 4, depending on how the series progresses. Now, when getting into this anime, I was pretty surprised by its somewhat kinky setup with the romance between a student who is 18 and the teacher who's like this alien human hybrid who was sent from a galactic organization to watch humanity. The main focus of Please Teacher is the daily life struggles between our 2 main characters as they try and hide their relationship from others and the fact that one of them is technically an alien. One of the things I liked about this part is that the main characters get to know each other a little better and develop a very close bond with one another, which is quite interesting to watch because before they were complete strangers. And what I mean by interesting is that in a sense it's kind of realistic, not in the whole him getting in a relationship with his teacher or one of them is from a different planet, because I don't believe it happens too often or not at all, because in all my life I've never heard of humans engaging in interspecies hanky-panky, at least in this universe's version of humanity. But realistic in the sense that these are people that have been forced into a situation and just slowly they start clicking with each other. And for me personally, I feel that's more realistic and natural than 2 people who just meet and they want to start a relationship with each other right off the bat. Because I've seen quite a few rom-coms where they overplay the whole love at first sight thing or the childhood friend and etc., which I find very boring and uninteresting at this point. I also quite appreciate the fact it took the whole taboo relationship thing seriously as well, because this could have easily turned into another fan service show with sexual tension, which would have gotten boring very fast, considering my massive experience with hentai. Also, one other positive I'd like to say is that also for once that the main character gets to go all the way to home base, home run, so yeah, take one for the team. But this takes place in the OVA episode, so yeah, look forward to that. It was also nice to see his relationship had progressed to the next level, so let's give him a pat on the back for that, because not many protagonists get to go even that far. The other focus of Please Teacher or Onagai Teacher is pretty much most things you see in most rom-coms, school life drama bullshit, and they can get a little melodramatic at times, but I think it had its heart in the right place, and it made for an okay background plot. Like for example, there's another girl that likes the main character, but the problem is that he's married to Miss Kasumi in secret, and it becomes this situation where a girl really likes you and you wouldn't mind going for it, but you already got someone. People who've been through this song and dance before know exactly what I'm talking about, because being a swag lord is very, very hard work. And another example is one of Kai's friends has the exact same illness as he has, and is pushing things in a certain direction in order to make him happy, but also to keep moving forward. Because apparently she was in a standstill for 6 years, and she looks incredibly younger than she actually is. And I think you can guess which character that is. Also, the whole moving forward thing which is something you're going to hear a lot about the series because it seems like the series has this simple female message of moving forward and enjoying life regardless of how shitty it can get. Now, I would say that my biggest complaint I would have to say about Please Teacher or Onagai Teacher is that by today's standards it is very dated in presentation and it's pretty much what's for historical purposes because this was before all the rom-com tropes and cliches became more popular and mainstream. And Please Teacher itself isn't bad per se, it just makes it lose its punch because let's be honest here, there are better romances in the media of anime, and if this series had came out around a few years ago, I would rate it lower and it wouldn't be so iconic to me as it is right now. I also think they could have, had a few more episodes to flesh out their relationship more and maybe some of the other characters' dramas. But overall, it's a good anime classic that people should check out at least once, and it's also a lot more mature than most slice of life rom-com things because of how it handles things. And also, if you're looking for fan service, this show is very tame by today's standards because High School DxD exists and Monogatari and shit like that. So there is not much flap material unless you want to use your imagination or a Dojin website. Now, time to move on to characters. The main character Kai is pretty average. In fact, this is what the series says about him right off the bat in the description. He's just that timid guy who's trying to get his life back together after a major sickness, which is mostly it for his character. Now, I would say one interesting aspect he has is that he has some psychological problems that give him a little bit of depth to his character. Like, I thought the whole thing of his sister killing herself in front of him and him unable to deal with it led to him getting his mental illness. And I think that's quite interesting in itself because, suicide and the effects of suicide isn't something that's really talked about in anime or any other fucking medium in general. And, it's sort of interesting to sort of see the, although I had wished we had more flashback or foreshadowing about his sister so you could care more because, it would have been nice if he talked about his sister more or we had a flashback episode of him and his sister interacting before his illness because it would give off the feeling of, oh man, Kai and his sister, have had really good times together and I wonder where she is if they were so close. And then you get the reveal and you're like, oh, that's what happened. She killed herself. It's like, damn. And because she killed herself, he ended up with this illness and all the other stuff that came with it. It's just like, that would have a lot more impact. But I do believe that the whole character arc of him trying to get over it and move forward with his life was relatable, and it has a nice message of life can suck ass, but life can also be great and you just need to keep moving forward and enjoy the ride. And I think it's interesting how Kai's sister represents the past and staying stagnant, while Miss Kasumi represents moving forward and enjoying life with its many ups and downs. The other main character, Mizumu or Miss Kasumi, was alright as well. Still pretty average personality-wise. She's just kind of a nice person who can be a little childish at times with certain situations. Also, her alien background I found was somewhat interesting, but they don't really explore it that much. We don't know anything about the race she is part of, except for the fact they look like humans, can breed with humans, and they really love Poke. There is just entire scenes with Miss Kasumi's mother and younger sister just sitting down and eating Poke. It would have been cool if she had talked about her home planet more or the culture of her race, but we don't get that, even though there are scenes where it's clear she is experiencing, slight culture shock. So I feel like her whole alien background is a bit of a wasted opportunity to me, and it kind of feels like flavoring. They just didn't know where to do anything with it. Now, when it comes to the side characters, they were pretty one note, but on the plus side, because of the character drama that happens, it helps flesh out some of the characters and makes them a bit more relatable. There's also a bit of character development between the main characters. He tries to get over his problems along with the other characters getting over their simple problems. But besides that, they're pretty forgettable, and they're kind of cardboard cutouts at this point because, there's rom-coms that have done characterization and character development and fleshing out better. Now, when it comes to art, the art and animation was pretty average. It wasn't good nor bad, but it did an okay job with it. It just looks very, very dated. It has this art style that reminds me of older hentai from the late 1990s to early 2000s, because if I had found this on some random porn site or something along those lines, during while I'm out researching, by the premise and art style along, I would have most likely expected while going to this that this would be a hentai show. It has also very dated character designs, but I really do like the look of Miss Kasumi and the main character's uncle. The main character's uncle just reminds me of some of my family members. Now, when it comes to sound, I found the opening was pretty fun to listen to, and and in fact I found it so fun to listen to I have it downloaded on my PC right now. But other than that, there really isn't nothing else I really give a shit about. Like, the ending song was meh, everything else OST-wise was forgettable. I found the sub and dub were alright, nothing really stands out with the series sound-wise. Like, it's just kind of, it's either like the OST, the sub, the music, the sub, dub, OST, it's just either meh or above average, you know, it's just nothing really standing out. Now, when it comes to enjoyment, overall I found Please Teacher to be very entertaining overall. I like the romance and the fact it took itself seriously. I also found the comedy funny at times. I still like it today and I still watch it for nostalgia purposes. So I enjoy it, but for very, very biased reasons. And I can't stretch this enough. I am incredibly biased for the show. But anyway, now overall, if you're looking for a rom-com that takes itself seriously and some slight fantasy elements, then you'll probably like Onagai Teacher or Please Teacher, because it's a simple series that's done to a decent standard of execution. But if you've seen a lot of rom-com, then this will do absolutely nothing for you because it is very dated and I can't stretch this enough. Unless you're a retro fag or someone new to anime, then avoid this series at all costs. So this is me finishing up the review, and before I say goodbye to my dear local drones, I just want to say something quickly, that for the next couple of videos I'll be making, I'll be doing sort of like a walkthrough, sort of a visual novel walkthrough of Higurashi When They Cry. So you know, look forward to that. So I'm going to be playing that for a bit. So the next couple of videos you're probably going to be getting is me dicking around with visual novels for a bit, because you know, I've got school coming up and you know, my editor is hard at work editing my brilliant masterpieces to the anime community, which I will bring to AnyTube in post haste. So rambling aside, this is Bio Gundam signing off, and see you later.